जय शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर 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 हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर 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 शंकर जय जय 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 शंकर हर हर शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर 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 शंकर जय जय 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 शंकर हर हर शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर 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 शंकर जय जय 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 शंकर हर हर शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर 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 शंकर जय जय 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 शंकर हर हर शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर जय जय शंकर
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Shri Bhagavadgeeta Bhaktabhyo Namaha. Srimad Bhagavadgeeta Abhiyana Karnataka was launched in the year 2007 by His Holiness Srimad Jagadguru Shankaracharya Shri Gangadharendra Mahaswamiji, Sonda Swarnavalli Mahasamsthana near Shree. As envisioned by His Holiness, the main objectives of the Abhiyana are moral upliftment of the people, social harmony, personality development, and above all, the national integration. As an integral part of this ongoing Abhiyana, Parayana or the recitation of the third chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita by the general public in all the 30 districts of the state, lectures by the eminent scholars, and allocation and essay competitions for the school and high school children are being organized. Today, we have an eminent scholar with us, Shri CV Gopinath, former Additional Secretary to Government of India, to deliver talk on the relevance of Bhagavad Gita, particularly the relevance of Karma Yoga for you and me. Shri Gopinath, born in 1945 in Mysore, had his graduation in Science and Telecommunication and Masters in Management. He joined Indian Engineering Service in 1971, and at the time of superannuation, he was Deputy Director General of Telecommunication, Government of India. Gopinath ji has many heritage documentaries to his credit. He is a very proficient and effective speaker in 6 Indian languages, including Sanskrit, on topics varying from public administration, ethics, in public service, management. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Shri Bhagavadgeeta Bhaktabhyo Namaha. Srimad Bhagavadgeeta Abhiyana Karnataka was launched in the year 2007 by His Holiness Srimad Jagadguru Shankaracharya Shri Gangadharendra Mahaswamiji, Sonda Swarnavalli Mahasamsthana near Shree. As envisioned by His Holiness, the main objectives of the Abhiyana are moral upliftment of the people, social harmony, personality development, and above all, the national integration. As an integral part of this ongoing Abhiyana, Parayana or the recitation of the third chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita by the general public in all the 30 districts of the state, lectures by the eminent scholars, and allocation and essay competitions for the school and high school children are being organized. Today, we have an eminent scholar with us, Shri CV Gopinath, former Additional Secretary to Government of India, to deliver talk on the relevance of Bhagavad Gita, particularly the relevance of Karma Yoga for you and me. Shri Gopinath, born in 1945 in Mysore, had his graduation in Science and Telecommunication and Masters in Management. He joined Indian Engineering Service in 1971, and at the time of superannuation, he was Deputy Director General of Telecommunication, Government of India. Gopinath ji has many heritage documentaries to his credit. He is a very proficient and effective speaker in 6 Indian languages, including Sanskrit, on topics varying from public administration, ethics in public service, management, religion and spirituality, including Bhagavad-Gita. We have requested him to deliver his talk on the relevance of Bhagavad-Gita, particularly relevance of Karma Yoga as preached by Lord Krishna, for the benefit of our devotees, particularly for the benefit of our youth. We have requested him to deliver his talk in English. He has honored our invitation and is with us here. So it is my proud privilege to welcome Shri Gopinath ji to deliver his lecture on the relevance of Bhagavad Gita in general and relevance of Karma Yoga in particular. Sir, we welcome you and over to you. So that was Shri CV Gopinath ji delivering his lecture on the relevance of Bhagavad Gita, particularly Karma Yoga, for you and me. On behalf of Shri Bhagavadgeeta Abhiyana Karnataka and also Shri Bhagavadgeeta Abhiyana Bangalore Samiti, it is my duty to thank Shri Gopinath ji. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you all.
Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaisthavaihi Vedaihi Sangapada Kramopanishadair Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam Naviduh Sura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Salutations to that God whom Brahma, Indra, Varuna and the Maruts praise with divine hymns, whom the Sama chanters sing by Vedas and their Angas, in the Pada and Krama methods, and by the Upanishads, whom the yogis see with their minds absorbed in him through the meditation, and whose ends the hosts of Devas and Asuras know not. Namaskar. For me, Bhagavad Gita is not a scripture. Bhagavad Gita is not a spiritual entity for me. On the other hand, for me, Bhagavad Gita is a practical guide to lead my day-to-day activities. We call it as bhava. Bhava means existence. When we say Ayushman Bhava, you exist with lengthy period or lengthy span of life. But in the process, we have a lot of conflicts in the life. We have a lot of problems, which we call bhava bandhana. That is, the attachments in the life makes you worry. The desires in your life haunts you like anything, which results in conflict. Every time I read Bhagavad Gita, my mother taught me Bhagavad Gita recitations, and I learned by heart in my childhood. As I grew up, I started trying to understand that. Today, standing at the age of 76, even now when I read Bhagavad Gita, a new dimension is coming before your mind. If you say Bhagavad Gita is not a scripture, in my opinion, it's science, it's arts, it's music, it's drama, it's literature, it is psychology, it is management, It is philosophy. It is quintessential knowledge of the great Indian heritage. As I said, it is telling us about the practical life with the reduced conflict. I don't say, for my level of understanding, it will not eliminate conflict. It's a changeover from the pleasant to the good. There are two concepts, preyas and shreyas. Preyas is full of desires. What appeases me? What gives me more comfort? But shreyas is what is better, which elevates your mind and soul to a greater height. This changeover from preyas to shreyas, from what is containing as desires from that status, which leads you to the spiritual evolution and to an elevated path. In the Western philosophies, we talk about existentialism, abstract, absolute, and surrealism. These concepts are also found in Bhagavadgeeta. For example, in the chapter 1, they are trying to assess the strength and weaknesses of both the parties, that is Kauravas and Pandavas. Assessing the strength of the armies, their warriors, under the leadership, at one stage, they say, aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishmabhirakshitam. Paryaptam tvidametesham balam bhimabhirakshitam. Paryaptam is sufficient. Aparyaptam gives rise to a meaning insufficient. They are trying to project the army led by the great Bhishmacharya is insufficient, whereas the army led by Bhima is sufficient. It is abstract. The Acharya Trayas, Shankara, Ramanuja and Madhvacharyas, in their bhashyas, that is critical description of the Bhagavad Gita, they give a new interpretation. Aparyaptam is more than sufficient. It is unlimited. Paryaptam is limited as compared to the limited army resources of Pandavas. The Kauravas' army is unlimited. In the Gita Dhyana shloka, one shloka says, Sarvopanishado gavo dogdha gopala nandanaha partho vatsa sudhir bhokta dugdham gitamrutam mahat. All the Upanishads, what are Upanishads? They are germs of wisdom. The germs of wisdom have found a source by the penance and the austerities performed by great sages. So, Hrid Dhatu is the source for Upanishad. As though an egg is entering into the womb, conception takes place, it grows into fetus, the germs of wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita is compared to the Upanishad, where when it enters your mind and soul, it grows from within and elevates you to a very extraordinary status. I would like to deal, within the limited time given to me, the Bhagavad Gita as science, the Gita as psychology, the Gita as management, the Gita as leadership. I would like to quote a small episode in the history of science, that is Heisenberg's principle of uncertainty. It's a paradoxical statement. How do we describe a photon, a wave or a particle? Fathoming into the subtle dimension of nature, logical language can't function. Nuclear science calls it as wavicle. German scientist Werner Heisenberg propounded the theory of uncertainty. Uncertainty relation between position and momentum. Fundamental limit to know simultaneously complementary variables such as position x and momentum y. Principle of uncertainty is inherent in the properties of all wave-like systems in quantum mechanics. The exact position and the exact speed of an object has no meaning. When we know particle's position, we do not know its moment and vice versa. If we want to reduce position uncertainty by making a small wave packet, we need to add more waves, which means a bigger momentum uncertainty. If we increase the wave packet to know momentum, it leads to bigger position uncertainty, and hence it is principle of uncertainty. Uncertainty is not measuring well or badly, but inevitable result of combining particle and wave motion. Uncertainty principle is not a practical limit on measurement, but it's a limit what properties an object can have built into fundamental structure of the universal itself. When we speak about theory of uncertainty, it is pertinent to speak about the Tao of physics from the scientist Fritz Cavrach, an Austrian scientist. In his book, The Tao of Physics, he speaks about Heisenberg and his meeting in the year 1972 and his dialogue. When Heisenberg was faced with a dilemma about speaking uncertainty in science, he postpones publishing his research. He comes to India, he meets Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. The Cavrach says, while he was working on quantum theory, he went to India to lecture and was a guest of Rabindranath Tagore. He talked a lot with Tagore about the Indian philosophy. Heisenberg told me that these talks had helped him in a lot with his work in physics, because they showed him that all these new ideas in quantum physics were in fact not all that crazy. He realized there was in fact a whole culture and subscribed to very similar ideas. Heisenberg said that this was a great help for him. Similarly, Niels Bohr had a similar experience when he went to China. In the 13th chapter of Bhagavadgeeta, speaking about Kshetra and Kshetrajna, the Gita says, Sarvendriya Gunabhasam Sarvendriya Vivarjitam Asaktam Sarva Bruchaiva Nirgunam Gunabhoktrucha Sarvam Bibirti iti Sarvabhrta, which sustains everything. Gunanam Bhoktru iti Gunabhoktru, enjoying the world through the gunas, shining by the functions of all, the senses, yet without the senses, absolute, yet sustaining all, devoid of gunas, yet he experiences them. It is as though it is there, it is not there. It is not the difference between it is there and it is not there, but still it is there, but it is not there. It's a theory. When you speak about Atma and the Panchendriyas, the presence of Atma is to enjoy without attaching itself to the Panchendriyas or the five sense organs and the sense objects. This was explained by one of the great monks of Ramakrishna order, Swami Chidbhavananda. Take a kaleidoscope, create hues of colors and project it on a screen. After seeing so many colors on the screen, if you project a blank screen, it is white. Where are the colors? The pictures do not get their colors from the screen, nor is the screen affected by those colors. Still, the screen helps the pictures appear in their true colors. Similarly, the three gunas are not in Brahman. All the same, Brahman aids the gunas shine in their colors and characteristics. The awareness of the gunas is possible because of the background of Brahman, who is all awareness. This is what Swami Chidbhavananda says. It completely, the theory of uncertainty, when you speak about position and momentum. Let us briefly see the psychology. In psychology, the fear psychosis is explained in terms of anxiety disorder. Appeal to fear, culture of fear, horror and terror, hysteria, nightmare, night terror, etc., etc. What's the fear? The fear of death, fear of the unknown, fear of the religion, fear of manipulation, fear of fiction and mythology, fear of athletics. When Arjuna, in the beginning, he says, take me to those front of the war field. Let me see with whom I am going to fight. Senayor ubhayor madhye ratham sthapaya mechyuta. Yavudetan niriksheham yodhukaman avastita. Kairmaya saha yodhavyam asmin rana samudyame. With whom I have to fight? Let me see. With ego, and he goes there. When he sees there, it is something like this. I know the traffic police inspector. So with that, I want to jump the red signal. I jump the red signal. Alas, there the police commissioner is standing to find me there. So what happens? It's a disturbed mind. The moment I see police inspector, I am afraid. Fear psychosis sets in. Drustvemam swajanam Krishna yuyutsum samupastitam sidanti mama gatrani mukhancha parishusyati. Limbs are failing. Mouth is drying up. Shivering in the body. Vepatuscha sharire me. Shivering in the body. Roma harshascha jayate. Heart palpitation. Gandhi vamsram sate hastat. The bow is slipping from the hands. The skin is burning all over. Unable to stand on feet. Illusions are in the mind. Brahmati vacha me manaha. Nimittani cha pashyami. I am seeing bad omens. This is a perfect psychological disorder condition, which we term it in psychology as fear psychosis. What was he established in Mahabharata, giving the practical example. That is how I say Mahabharata is only to lead practical thing. From psychology, let us briefly go to the management. What is action? What is karma? Annat bhavanti bhutani parjanyat anna sambhavaha. Yajnat bhavati parjanyo yajna karma samudbhavaha. From food, beings become. From rain is the food produced. From yajna, rain proceeds. Yajna is born out of karma. Bhutani is living beings. Anna is sustenance. Parjanya is productivity. Yajna is a selfless endeavor. Karma is action. They are all interlinked in a cycle. The selfless endeavor, yajna, will result in production of food and sustenance of all. You can apply it to the management condition where the workers they produce, that is how they get bonus and pay. The productivity is there. When they get money, they sustain. Including the manager, they do their karma perfectly. That action takes you. Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi. Brahmakshara samudbhavam. Animal just born is able to stand upon its feet and search the nipples of the mother to suck milk. Only human beings, we have to take the infant and feed it ourselves. So when karma, the action is inborn, we see what leaders project us in the management. Krishna, he had achieved all status in Mahabharata. He was referred to as God, but still he preferred to wash the horses in the stable of Pandavas. Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nanavapta mavaptavyam vartayevacha karmani. There is nothing in the three worlds, O Partha, that has not been done by me, nor anything unattained what may be attained. Still I engage in action. Yadi heyam na varteyam jatu karmanya atindritaha mama vartmananu vartante manushyaha partha sarvashaha. Had I not worked, had I not done my karma, all the people will follow me. Karmannaivahi samsiddhi asthita janakadayaha. The rishis like Janaka also, they did the work through karma only. There is a conflict in day-to-day life. This conflict and the existence, what I spoke in terms of bhava, how do you face them? There is something called conscience. How we are dictated by the conscience. In Christianity, we call it as call of the soul. In Islam, we call it as taqwa. In Buddhism, we call it as intention. In Jainism, we call it as sankalpa himsa. What you have undertaken, that I will abide by this. Even in the mind, if you proceed like that, then it becomes a sankalpa himsa. In Hinduism, we call it as conflict of mind. In the mind, everything is coming up. You have to control the mind. Chanchalam hi manaha Krishna pramati balavadridam tasyaham nigraham manyo vayurivat dushkuram sudushkaram. The mind is not controllable. It is erratic, disturbed, very powerful and stubborn. Oh Krishna, I think that to control it is difficult as trying to control the wind. The mind is turbulent. It creates upheavals in one's consciousness in the form of hatred, anger, lust, greed, envy, anxiety, fear, attachment, etc., etc. It is strong because it overpowers the intellect with its vigorous currents and destroys the faculty of discrimination. The mind is also obstinate because when it catches a harmful thought, it refuses to let go and continues to ruminate over it again and again. This is how we say control the mind. There is a vicious circle of creating the conflict. Bhagavadgeeta explains it in chapter 2. Dhyayato vishayan punsaha sangaste shopajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho vijayate krodhat bhavati sammoham sammohat smriti vibramaha smriti bhramshat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashyate. It's very beautifully explained. There is a visual circle. Contemplating the objects of senses. From a distance, I look at a beautiful girl. The moment you contemplate, it results in attachment. I want to go nearby her and talk to her. It generates a desire when there is attachment, when I go near her. Would you like to come with me for a cup of coffee? She refuses. It kicks up anger. Anger, it leads to infatuation. How come you can refuse me? I will see, somehow I will take you for a cup of coffee. It results in infatuation. The infatuation results in bewilderment of the memory. There are memory cells. If I have touched a hot plate, it is recorded. Next time I will not touch a hot plate. Now, memory is disturbed. Bewilderment memory occurs. Its failure of intellect, that is the power to discriminate what is correct and what is not correct. It results in falling down and falling down. T.S. Eliot, the Nobel laureate, says, London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. The root cause is mind. With the turbulent mind, whether the experiences through the senses or sensual pleasures and pains are permanent. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkada agama payino anityaha tamtitikshasva bharata. The contacts of the senses with their objects create, O son of Kunti, feelings of heat and cold, of pain and pleasure. They come and go and are impermanent. Bear them patiently. Tantitikshasva, he says. When I have a pain, you give an analgesia injection. It is not eliminating the pain, but it is only blocking the communication of the pain to the brain. Can I have an injection which blocks my pleasures to the brain? Then I become a samachitta, man with equanimity of mind. Karmanyevadhikaraste is the most spoken shloka from the Gita. It is not that even a sannyasi wants a moksha, he wants a phala. Here the meaning is the result should become insignificant. You are not result oriented, but results will come because you are continuously doing the karma. Last point I would like to touch is about the leadership. Yadyadacharati shresthaha tattateva itaro janaha sa yat pramanam kurute lokastadanu vartate. Whatever a leader sets an example, it is followed by the followers. As a leader, I set the example. This is pure management in Bhagavadgeeta. Bhagavadgeeta lists what should be the leadership qualities. Abhayam sattva samshuddhi jnana yoga vyavastitihi danam damascha yajñascha swadhyayastapa arjavam ahimsa satyam akrodha tyagam shantirapaishunam daya bhuteshvaloluptam mardavam hirachapalam tejaha kshama dhriti shauchamadroha natimanita bhavanti sampadam daivi abhijatasya bharata. Bhagavad-Gita lists about 24 gunas as leadership qualities, are the devas gunas. Abhayam, courage of conviction. Purity of heart, sattva shuddhi. Jnana yoga vyavastitaha, steadfastness in yoga and knowledge. Dhanam, quality to give. Damaha, control of senses. That's what chanchalam hi manaha Krishna. How do I control? That is the issue. Yajnaha, selfless endeavor. Self-swadhyaya, self-study, self-development. Arjavam, straightforwardness. Act of harmonizing the thought, word and deed. What we call it as kaya, vacha, manasa. And in Christianity, what we speak in terms of thought, word and action. Ahimsa, non-injury, harmlessness. Satyam, truth, honesty. Akrodha, absence of anger. Tyaga, renunciation. Shantihi, serenity. Apaishunam, absence of crookedness or calumny. Daya, compassion. Aloluptam, uncovetousness, non-indulgence in enjoying others' materials. That is what's the basic thing spoken in Ishavasya Upanishad. Ishavasya midaggam sarvam yatkinchat jagatyam jagate tena tyaktena bhunjita ma gradaha kasya svidhanam. Don't aspire for others. Now, mardavam, gentleness. Hrihi, modesty. Today you get arrested on a corruption charge. When you come out of the jail, people come around you and make so big noise as though you have won a war. Mardavam, what we call social shame is not there. Achapalam, absence of fickle mind. Tejaha, vigor. Kshama, forgiveness. Dhritihi,